All right, everybody, I'm going to do a quick video here. And I'm doing this to make a point and why you need to get your ECUs flashed and stop messing with power commanders. And this applies to a lot of bikes. In this case, it's going to be a Triumph, mainly because I'm thinking about buying this particular bike. So I'm going to show you what's going on in the ECU here. And if you've got a Triumph, you can do this yourself. Now, I'm using this on a PC. I would not flash this. People say, hey, how do you get the desktop version of TuneECU to work? You don't. On the new bikes, you got to use the Android version on an Android phone with a Bluetooth adapter. I'm just using this because it's a big screen and it's easy to work and manipulate the maps. So I build my maps on my home computer running an Android emulator. I'm using BlueStacks. That lets me run the Android app in a big environment with a mouse and keyboard. Makes it easier to work on these cells without having to go in and, dick around with it on a phone and pinching and zooming and all that kind of stuff. So I do it here. But I want to show you where, when you just get a power commander, you miss the boat. So the bike in question is a 2022 Triumph Speed Twin. That's the new 1200, Euro 5 compliant, 100 horsepower, I think 77 or 83 foot-pounds of torque, something like that. Really nice, really great little bike. And I think I'm going to get that for my cruiser-ish, air quotes, roll. And then I've got my ZX14 for everything else. So let me show you what's going on. So I open up the maps. You got your fuel table for cylinder 1. In this case, it's a parallel twin, so there are only going to be 2. You got fuel for cylinder 2. You've got your L tables, which are fuel, but it's not based on throttle position. Like here, this is similar to a power commander. You've got your throttle position out here, and then you've got your RPMs. And where it intersects is whatever that number means. That tells the ECU, squirt this much fuel, right? So you got one for each cylinder. You got your L tables, which are based not on throttle position so much as vacuum pressure. Won't get into that, not relevant for the story here. Then you get into your ignition tables. So there's your ignition tables for first. We've got our ignition tables for second gear, for third through sixth. And then we've got for neutral. ETV tables. This is electronic throttle valve. If you watch Chris Moore, when he does his de-restricting and uncorking the top end power on bikes, so you see the chart goes, and then he corrects it so it could, this is what he's doing in Woolwich, okay? Here, you can do that in TuneECU for your Triumphs or other bikes. And we'll go through a quick list towards the end, so stay tuned for that. So what we're looking at is ETV1. This is your rain mode. And so what happens here, what had happened was, you give it 100% throttle. And the ECU says, okay, at this 2400 RPM, you give it 100% throttle, we're only going to give you 90.7. We're not going to open up the throttle plates all the way. This is as much as you're going to get. And you'll see here right at 4200, it starts dropping off. And that makes sense for rain mode, right? You never, you want it to be very progressive getting on the throttle. You don't want it abrupt. You don't want to lose traction. And traction control is going to cut in and cut your power. Might cause the back end tire to slip, or, you don't want to do that in the rain or in inclement weather. So then we'll go on to ETV2, which is road. Now, if you look at these, you'll see that these numbers right here, these are 67s. We go to ETV2, that's road mode. You'll notice that it starts stepping up a little more. As you give it gas, it's going to come on a little bit stronger, a little bit faster. You're not changing the horsepower of the motor. It's just when you dial up, because there's no direct link anymore between throttles and a cable that physically yanks open the throttle bodies. This is all like a micro switch, or like a rheostat or a potentiometer, right? Your dimmer switch on your wall where you turn it to 50%, you get basically 50% luminosity out of your lights. That's what you're basically doing here. Simple, different. It's different, but it's the same for the argument, for the purpose of this argument or this discussion. So what you've got is in rain mode, when you give it 70% throttle, it's never delivering more than 55%. When you go up to road mode, you'll see now it's up at 60, it's going up a little bit faster up in these areas. When you get to sport mode, which is ETV3, this is your most aggressive. You notice this column here that in rain is only in the 60s, then it goes into the 70s, now it's up in the 80s. But even then, you're never getting 100% throttle. There is nowhere, anywhere in the rev range, in sport mode, which is your most aggressive throttle mapping, there is no point where you are ever getting more than 90.7% of that motor. This is how they tune profiles for the motor without changing fueling and having to worry about emissions and does it run like crap. They can get the motor running fine. They can get the motor where it's, a good balance between being happy and putting out decent power so that you're not going, oh, this is crap, but it's not all herky and jerky, but they are meeting emission standards. That's all done through ignition timing and fueling. Where they shape the curve of the power for the throttle modes is to provide a different experience. So if you want to make a bike less powerful and sell it to beginners under an A2 license in the EU or in Britain, they can say, you know what, never give it more than 70% power. And I could just type in 70s here, and it doesn't matter how much throttle I give it, that ECU is never going to give you more than 70% throttle. That's how you create rain mode. That's how you create, that soft mode for rain. That's how you get road, which is a little more aggressive, how you get to sport. But as you're seeing here, at least on this bike, even in sport, you are never getting full power. Now, if I go into like a street triple or a speed triple R or something like that, like a Triumph sport bike, you will see in sport mode out here, it'll be 100% and then it'll cut it back a little bit up here. So if you wanted to, without having to change your tune, without having to worry about, throwing off your throttle, your emissions or anything like that, this does not touch that. This is simply when you turn the switch to 100, is it going to give you 100 or is it only going to give you 90%? So this is what you can do. You can come in here to these tables, go to ETV3. Now, different bikes, it's different. So don't go to your speed triple or your street triple and think ETV is sport. It may be or it may not be. What you do is you go through your ETV tables and find the most aggressive one. And that's the only one I would change. I would leave rain where it is, leave road where it is. But then when you want to go hooligan mode or you want to go to a track day, make your sport a true unrestricted sport mode. So look at them and you can see, okay, these numbers are lower. Whoops, let's go in the other direction. Okay, it got higher, and then it got higher still. Okay, so you can see this is full, that's medium, that's low power, okay? So in this bike's case, ETV3, there is an ETV4 on this bike, but it's all zeros, they're not using it. So ETV3 is sport. So here's what I'm gonna do when I buy this bike. I'm gonna go up to table, click modify, it says the warning, hey, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Stay away from this. Don't play with anything down here. Only play up at the top throttle openings because you don't want to make it abrupt down here. It's a very smooth, mellow bike. You just want to have a situation where you give it the beans, you want it to deliver the beans, not 3/4 of the beans. So what I would do here is when you get up here to the 92, see how these all match, but then it kind of tapers off? Take this, push it up to 100, okay? Accept it. Come in, click and hold it, highlight it, hit copy, and then paste it all the way to the top. Make those hundreds. Down here, it's 87.9. I wouldn't up this anymore. What I would do is take this one, copy that, highlight all these, paste it all the way to the top. I would go here and you'd say, okay, it's 81.1 is the highest. Let's not exceed that, but let's just continue that all the way up. Click and hold it, highlight it, copy, click and hold, and then drag up to highlight them all and paste. This is like working in Excel. Look for the highest value here, 71.3. Click it, hold it, highlight it, copy, click it, hold it, drag it, paste. And here you'll notice it's the same all the way up. They're not restricting it up here. So now what you've got is you've just taken what they were giving you here because they were giving you almost full power. They were giving roughly what you're asking, but then it started tapering off. Here it was tapering off. And back here it was all restricted. They were never giving you more than 90.7%. And then right up around here, around 6,000, it just started pulling power. So all I've said is no. When I'm giving it 93% to 100, when I'm at that last bit of throttle, give me the whole damn thing. Give it to me the same way that the speed triple or the sport bikes do. Give it to me all the way. I've made these tables. I wouldn't change anything else. You're gonna live right in this area here. If you drew a triangle from here down to here, this is the area up here. All of this, that's what you're gonna change, okay? Hit accept, leave it. Just leave the defaults, hit okay. That's the first thing you do. Then go to map and go to parameters. If you want to extend the rev limiter, give yourself a little over rev capability. You don't want to be bouncing off the rev limiter all the time, but if you're on track or somewhere and you want a little bit of over rev, go ahead and enable that. And then, if you wanted to get into tuning, you can come in here and click on devices, and you can turn off the secondary air injection or the O2 sensor. Being that we're not playing with the tune here, if I get this, I'm probably just going to put it in the aftermarket, washable air filters, and I'll remove the dB killers out of the exhaust. This is going to be a cruising bike. I'm still going to have some fun on it, obviously, but I'm not going to be putting full exhaust and tunes and all that stuff, and that's just going to be my touring and putzing around town kind of bike. So I would leave those checked off. But if you did want to tune the bike, at this point you could go ahead and just disable that, hit OK, and then save this map and then push it to the bike. And at that point you could install a power commander. And with the power commander, then you can map and do whatever you want. It's faster actually than tuning through TuneECU. TuneECU is great for getting in here, clearing the diagnostic codes. You get an error code. You don't have to go to the whatchamacallit, to the dealer. If your maintenance minder comes on, you can reset it yourself right from your phone without having to go to the dealer and pay them an hour of labor or whatever they charge for that. But if you want to tune it, tuning through TuneECU is tedious. You can do it, and you save the money on a power commander, but I'm telling you, I ran through this with my Street Cup. Whatever money you save on not buying the power commander, you're going to make up by paying for triple or quadruple the amount of dyno time. They can map a bike from scratch. If you put a full exhaust and a nice air filter on this bike and you had to do a custom tune for the whole thing, you could knock that out in 20, 25 minutes on a power commander. PCV with a whatchamacallit. But before I get into that, right, so you could do all that on the power commander just by disabling these and then unplug the O2 sensor. All this does is get rid of the error code when you unplug it. If you leave the O2 sensor in, it will keep it in and it'll try to undo some of your changes. So if you're going to tune the bike, whether you do it through here or you do it through Power Commander, which is what I recommend, get rid of it. Get rid of these and then physically unplug that. And you can tune and do whatever you want. Now, I'm not going to do that for my map, so I'm just going to go ahead. Okay, all I wanted to do is get rid of the restrictions. So ETV1 is my rain mode. Just going to leave it alone. It's rain mode. It's there for a reason to keep you safe. Road mode, if I'm just putzing along, not worried about performance really, going to leave that alone. ETV, boom, give me all the power when I ask for it. If I ask for 85, give me roughly that. Don't start pulling it back to 70. Same thing here. Where I'm up in the upper RPMs, where I'm making my best power, give me all the power, and that's what I'll use sport mode for. If I want to dial it back, I just push my button on my control pod on the handlebar, and I can go back to road and go back to the stock rain map and everything. That's all I'm doing. If you go the power commander route without doing these things, you're going to have to disable the O2 sensors, okay? The O2 eliminators don't work on the new Triumphs. The little resistor in there. After a while, the ECU, they're smart. The guys that build these bikes are smart. They go, you know what? I noticed that signal has not changed at all. It's going to assume there's a problem with the O2 sensor, and it's going to put it into limp home mode. It's going to give you an error. So if you want to tune the bike, get rid of it, disable it here, push it to the bike so the ECU won't freak out when you unplug it, and you're good to go. Now, why do you want to do these things first in the Power Commander? Before you go to the Power Commander, why do you want to do it here first? One, to get rid of the O2 sensors the proper way so you can actually tune it and the bike won't be trying to undo your changes as you drive along to try to get back to emission standards. You want to get rid of that ability so you get rid of the O2 sensors. But also, the Power Commander, you can go into the fuel tables and you can dial it in perfectly, but it won't matter up here because when you give it full throttle, no matter how good your tune is, under the stock map, it was 81% up here. It's still going to pull back to 81%. You're not going to get the full power. The only way to get the full power out of the bike is to do this first. Get rid of the restrictions. That's what companies are doing these days on R1s, ZX6Rs, all kinds of bikes. The bike can make what it makes, and then they tailor how they want the bike to respond and how much power to limit it to based on those throttle inputs. When they created the fly-by-wire, ride-by-wire, that's how they created the ability to have ride modes. And then someone said, we can have the same damn motor off the same assembly line. We don't need to have different cams and different part numbers and all that other cost. We could take the same motor and put it into 2 or 3 different bikes, and all we do is play with these settings, and we can sell it in vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry without having to have 3 production lines and 3 different part numbers and all that kind of crap. Same motors, same parts, same tune. We're just going to have the beginner bike really restricted up here. Maybe it's only giving you 60% power after a certain RPM. And then there's the mid-range bike that puts out a bit more. And then you got the sport, the top of the line model, the RS, that has everything. That's all they're doing here. And it's not unique to Triumph. It's just Triumph, you can do this for the price of a $50 Bluetooth adapter off of Amazon and a $15 Android app. And if you have an iPhone, which I do what I did. Go buy a cheap, unlocked, brand new $100 Android phone off of, off Amazon, and just use it for TuneECU. That's what I've done. I got like a $90 phone from BLU or something like that. Works like a champ. I do my edits here, so I got the full keyboard and it's easy with the mouse and all that stuff. And then I save it, push it up to my Google Drive because it's Android, so I'm logged into my Google account. And then I just go on my phone and go to Google Drive and download the file that I've saved. And all you got to do here is just go ahead and save it. So what I'm first gonna do is we're gonna go back. I'm not gonna save those changes because I've already done that. So I'm gonna go back to here, download my map. So here I'm back to the base map, and you'll see when it loads, when we go back to ETV3, you will see, there's 2, there's 3. See, there's all my restrictions back. I'm never getting full power, even at 100% throttle, and even when I get up to 90, at 4,800 RPMs, which is not that much. This bike revs out to like 7,400 or almost 8,000. And at under 5,000 RPM, I'm not even at 5,000 RPMs yet, and it's already pulling power. It's already holding me back. Get rid of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare, and what map is this? 31127. So where did I save that? So I got a speed twin. All right, so here's the unrestricted map. So here are where the differences are. When I'm looking at the map, you'll notice that some of these cells now have a white dot in the corner, a little white square. If I click and I hold the mouse button, that shows me what the variables are on the map that I'm comparing to. So here's the stock tables. You can see exactly what I did. Here are the stock variables. At 100% throttle, it's only giving me 90.7 and so on. There's the modified map. Everything else is the same. That's why they're gray. Nothing changed. All we did was change this area that's now colored. I changed it from that to that. If you do that, even if you don't extend the rev limiter, even if you don't disable O2 or SAI, if you just open up the base map, make these changes that I've made and save it, and then go and connect it to your ECU and hit program and let it do its 15 minutes, that will immediately make that bike pick up a bunch of power up here. It's not going to be pulling power. It's going to rev farther. It's going to pull hard to the rev line instead of going to 5, 6 and then starting to fall on its face. This is how you do this. You think of the cost of an Android phone. If you already got it, great. Then all you need is the Bluetooth adapter and an app, and you're in for $65. If you got to buy a phone, okay, now you're in for $165. But you'll be able to do all this. You'll be able to tune. You'll be able to go over here and get all your other data coming in from the ECU when you're connected to it. You'll be able to go in and turn on sensors and see what's going on. You'll be able to connect to the ECU. You'll be able to then clear diagnostic codes or error codes, reset your maintenance minders, all that stuff. This is the cheapest, best way to do it. So hopefully this helps some people. I see a bunch of people doing reviews of this new bike, the Speed Triple, and I was like, the Speed Twin, and I'm thinking, you know what? I think I'm gonna go buy that bike. And I was just like, I wonder how much it's held back. And I logged in and I'm like, holy crap, they got this thing strangled up top. Up towards redline, you're only getting 74% power. You're getting 79 here, 80 there. You just do that. Change those cells to 100%, move them all the way up to the top, and off you go. In fact, on this one, I'll probably do 100 in both columns here. Or I could just leave it. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's close. All it matters, what really matters is up here, because that's where it started pulling back, and this final column, because that is 100% throttle. So I expect it to give me 100%, not 90. Anyway, if you got questions, throw them in the comments. Love to hear them. If you've done this to your bike, let me know how it worked out, because I've done this now on several bikes. My wife's Bobber, my Street Cup, Speed Triple, Street Triple RS. It makes a difference. It really does. If you think that you're like, oh, what difference does it really make? Go put your bike in rain mode and drive it compared to road or sport. Feel the difference? It's a very different bike. All you did was push a button. That's what we're doing here. We're using those mechanisms that already exist, that they're already using to cut power in other modes, and we're just restoring it and saying, no, when I ask for 100%, give me 100%, give it all. That's what we're doing. Anyway, oh, and by the way, your dealer really won't be able to, all they can tell is how many times the ECU has been written to. When they look at the map, all they're going to see is 31127 or whatever your base map for your VIN number is. The dealer doesn't have the ability to open up the files and go in and look at this stuff. You have more control over that ECU than the dealer does. So now, if you go writing to it 40 times and you go in for service, the dealer's going to look and go, what are you doing? That'll raise an eyebrow. But if you weren't doing tuning where you're doing trial and error and having to keep pushing new maps, you just go in and change your settings to give it full power and write it once. No one's going to be the wiser. I know, because I've had these bikes for many years. I've had Triumphs that I've been using TuneECU on since my 2007 Daytona. So I've been doing this for years with Triumphs, my bikes, my wife's Triumphs. Never a problem with the dealerships. So anyway, hopefully this helps somebody and explains how some of these things work. But if you've got access to this stuff and you haven't done this, even if you haven't done a pipe and you're not interested in a tune, whatever, you paid for a speed twin, you paid for a sport retro. Go get all your sport, get what you paid for. Go in and make those changes. Anyway, peace out.